Here's what I need you to do. I need you to get a protractor and an old-fashioned paper map. Need to put the pointy end of the protractor on New Brunswick, New Jersey, then draw a 900 nautical mile radius around it. Because if you live within that circle, you need to come see Jay Black performing at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, July 26th. That's a Wednesday. You got nothing going on a Wednesday. Come see me, Jay Black, performing. You can go to jblack.tv for tickets. That's jblack.tv. Or really, you're on your app. Just look in the app. There's a link in there. Just go to the link. Just click it. Come see me in New Brunswick. We're going to have such a blast.
Hello, welcome to episode number 36 of the TV show, the first one we have ever attempted without our main host, Jay Black, who currently is making a lot of money on a cruise ship to Iceland.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah, right. And he is there with a lot of elderly types telling jokes and making a lot of money. So we are trying this. Gail Cataldi is our engineer this morning. Rhea Hughes is there. Rhea, how are you doing?
Hello.
All right. We got a lot of ground to cover. I just want to start by saying this. Well, we started this podcast almost a year ago now. I wanted to do it for one reason, because I watch a ton of TV.
Yes.
And I see stuff that I really love.
Yes.
And how do I get to tell other people, especially once I've left the radio show? Well, this is how we do it. And I'm happy to say that in all the weeks, I have discovered something that is the best thing that I have seen in the 36 weeks we have done this.
Wow. Okay.
And I am guaranteeing you, when you watch this, you'll be spellbound and overwhelmed. But that's a little later in the show.
Okay.
Let us start with
just to let you know, Angelo, it is a Wine Wednesday.
Yes, Rhea has the wine out, although I don't think we're video today, but we will be video soon again. Okay. I promise you that, although you're not missing that much in my case, but a lot with Rhea. Anyway, so let us start. One of the things I want to deal with that continues to puzzle me, as somebody who's watched TV his whole life, is how bad network programming has become. And what really got me to think about this was the show Accused on Fox, because it is terrific. And I watched all 15 episodes since it started. The first episode was with Michael Chiklis from The Shield, and that's why I watched it. I thought he was in all of them. He's only in one. But it got me, and I have watched it.
And do you know it's based off of a BBC show?
Oh, is it really?
It is. So I want to watch it, but I'm going to watch the BBC one first. It's originally, a lot of America's great shows are actually based off of British shows. But yeah, this one's based off of a British show.
What is it with the British and crime? They love crime stuff.
Well, because I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to get into a political thing. Right. But there are not a lot of guns in London, in England, because they're illegal. So they can't do shows that are just based off of, let's spend 20 minutes of it in a shootout. They have to develop characters and content. So it's why their shows are so good, because there's very few shows, and it's probably why I do watch it, that involve a lot of overt violence. It's more about the story.
Well, you know what I'm learning is that British TV may be better than ours. And I'm also learning that they have many fewer guns. So I am keeping open my options of a move if the election doesn't go great. But I'm not being political. All right, here's what I want to get into, though. The fact that there is a great network TV show, Accused, why can't they offer good programming now on the networks? Do you have a theory, Rhea, as to why most of it is awful?
Well, some of it, I'm going to say, not all of it is awful. Like Abbott Elementary, I know it's not your genre.
Oh, Abbott's pretty good. You're right.
It's probably more my genre because I have a child who, has just about to graduate from 8th grade, having entirely gone through public school in Philadelphia and South Philly. So it does speak to me. And I think the acting is phenomenal and they have great people. But I realized it. There's a network show I like, 2 of them actually, but I didn't realize that they were network shows because so there's a show called Will Trent. It's an ABC show.
Yeah.
Now, Will Trent, have you seen it?
I've seen promos for it. The guy is weird. He looks.
Well, he is very well. See, this is why it's different. So it's based off of an author that I've read, Karen Slaughter. Now, I stopped reading her years ago because her serial murders just got a little bit too much for me. Like I was like, okay, but this was a new character. The reason he's weird is because he's a detective in the Georgia Bureau of GBI, but he's dyslexic, and he grew up in a group home, a foster home. So that's kind of what makes I love the show. The characters are in it good. But what I realized, so I realized I found it on Hulu. I was not even looking on because I don't watch regular TV. So I did a little investigation. ABC has a deal with Hulu. So what they do is the day after the Will Trent show is on Tuesday nights, it's available on Hulu. So what people are doing, like me, I can go a couple weeks without watching it, and then I binge like 3 or 4 shows.
Without ads.
So, yeah. Alaska Daily, which has, why am I blanking her name? $1 Million Baby. Who was the star in that?
Oh, I know who you mean. She's great.
She's,
Clint Eastwood.
Hillary.
Hillary Swank.
Hillary Swank.
Right.
She's a great author. She's a great journalist who gets bad information and kind of gets shipped to Alaska.
Mm.
Also, I believe an ABC show, but it's on Hulu. I'm finding good network shows that are getting life on streaming because I'm not going to network shows. So there are some good ones because you pointed out, Ange, you're right. NCIS, all those. I stopped watching those years ago because I'm bored. It's formulaic, but I think it works with maybe an older audience. I don't know.
Here's why I know they're too lazy on networks now. They got whole nights that they dedicate to Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD. There's a whole night of FBI stuff.
Yes.
There's all these NCSIs and CSIs. There's so much of that stuff now. Just do a great show. Yes. You are losing. See, we're in the middle of a writer's strike, and I can understand why they're frustrated because the only thing the networks seem to want now is cookie cutter. They just want the same themes in a different setting. And I think here's the best example I can give you. Do you know the name Billy Gardell? Do you know who that is?
I only know him because when we did our shows at Borgata, he was there one weekend. And when we're at Borgata outside the Gypsy Bar, they always flash on those flashing things. And I was like, okay, I knew him. And I know the show you're talking about is Somebody Loves Abishola. What is it, Billy?
Bob Hart's Abishola.
Abishola. I remember I just saw the previews and I went, this show is awful. But this guy's really funny.
That's the point. That's exactly the point. Rhea, Billy Gardell is a first-rate stand-up comic. Just like a guy, I don't know if you remember him, Jerry Seinfeld.
No,
Seinfeld.
See, you and I have always disagreed. I saw Jerry stand-up at the beginning.
Not that great.
It's not that great.
Right.
He's not that great.
His TV show is better than his stand-up.
Way better.
But they based his TV show on what he did on stage and made it better.
Yeah.
Billy Gardell is a first-rate stand-up. Before this show, he had Mike and Molly with really great. Oh, who's that woman? She's phenomenal.
Oh, God.
I can't think of her right now. I'm blanking on names.
Maureen something?
Maureen something. But anyway.
Oh, well, she was in Bridesmaids.
Yes, she's great. And he's
phenomenal.
Great. And his shows stink. And I'm trying to understand why funny people in the past, not just Jerry Seinfeld, Paul Reiser, Mad About You, great show. Everybody
that was a great show.
Raymond, Ray Romano, great show. Why can't they do what they did before with comedy? I don't understand the networks. And this leads to the next part of this. Yeah. And it's now, I just got this stat this morning, Rhea. For the past 12 years, the number one show on network programming is Sunday Night Football, right? And the fact is that the last bastion of big numbers in network TV is sports. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, all right, so here's the thing. Back in the old days, MASH, Friends, ER, they all got bigger numbers than football. What changed?
Reality TV. That's what I think it is. So you got reality TV, which started back in the day. You always loved American Idol. I never loved it because it's reality TV, but it was scripted. The reason why sports is so massive is it's reality TV that is completely unscripted. Now we can say the officials play into it. You know, they've screwed the Eagles on giving them a Thursday night game after a Sunday night game, all that stuff. Sports is unscripted. We don't know the outcome.
Right.
And that's why it's the one show you can watch every week. If you just watch the Eagles, if you just watch Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, you don't know the outcome. And gamblers.
Answer.
Let's not be,
All
gambling is a massive part of our culture.
Here's the big question. And it's funny that we're talking sports the first week, Jay's.
Shocking.
Here's the thing, all right? Is sports more entertaining now than it was when regular programming beat it? Is it actually better now, or did everything else just get worse?
Well, here's what I think. I think it's better because back in the day, we didn't know the people. You always knew the quarterbacks, okay? Everybody knows the quarterbacks. Now we know all the other players. Wide receivers are crazy. D-backs are crazy. You know, we've gotten to know that how important the offensive line is. So you've gotten to know it's like we've gotten to know stars on a network show. You now know the stars on the football field. So everybody's kind of involved in that. So I think that's the difference.
All right. And you being the expert on kids on this podcast.
Yes.
Does your son watch as much sports as you did when he was your age? Because that'll tell you the future. Are they getting hooked now? Does he watch as much as you did?
No, and here's what I'll tell you. And you've known this. I've raised a son, unfortunately, and I think it's me because I'm a lunatic when I watch games. And I think that's a bit of a drawback. What he will watch are the Eagles. He will watch the NFL. The rest of them on Sunday, it's Mother's Day. We had Game 7 for the Sixers. He goes, oh, hell no, I'm not watching that. He literally walked away. He goes, I am not watching. He goes, so explain to me the elimination game. And, you know, because he knows basketball. He's watched basketball. And I said, if they lose, they're done. He goes, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. He only watches the NFL.
But you may have ruined it. You may have ruined him for sports.
Well, no, but here's why. And here's where I think the other leagues don't get it. The reason why Clark can get invested in the Eagles, prior to this year, it was 16 games. It's only 17. If they make it to the Super Bowl, you know, it's maybe 19, it's maybe 20. The investiture that Clark has to put into it is not that big. He knows it's one game a week, you know, so I think where the other leagues don't get it. I said to Clark, I said something about the Phillies. We're watching a game and some horrible play. He just happened to be sitting next to me. And he goes, oh my God, that's terrible. And I said, it would be terrible, except there's like 140 games left in the season. And they will actually, by the time they end, Clark, you will be in high school. And he goes, then why should I care now? It's exactly what he said to me. And I went, here's a 13-year-old who goes, why do I care now?
They're going to have to shorten the seasons. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Except for football. Well, look, if you want to email us, you know how to do it. We don't know how to read them because Jay's in Iceland. But we would like to get your feedback on whether you watch a lot of network sports, network shows, and do your kids watch as much sports as we did? Because my theory is that Rhea's son is not an outlier, that there are a lot of people with a lot more different options on what to do and not wanting to make that big an investment in time. And since we're talking kids, why don't we just swing right over to the teen segment? Rhea, what do you got for us this week?
So here's an interesting show. Now, I didn't think I would like it, but, you know, Clark and I try to find something that we'll like. And so we watched The Good Place, starring Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. Now, I said to Clark, I said, Ted Danson is, going back to the top of the show, he's a network sitcom star. Yes. That's what he does. I mean, I don't know. Am I missing like the great movie he's done? Like I think of Ted Danson and I go, sitcom star, right?
Right. Oh, he's Three Men and a Baby was his big
hit. Yeah, he was. No, that was, but what was that, 30 years ago?
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, it's kind of fun. So Kristen Bell, it's basically a story about where she dies and she goes to this place. I'm assuming it's considered like a purgatory. And she meets with Ted Danson, who basically tells her she's in a place, it's called the Good Place, where they decide if they're, I guess, going to move up to heaven, if you believe in that. But what she realizes is she shouldn't be there because she kind of lived a really crappy life. She was selfish, all that. So Clark kind of found it amusing that she has to spend we watched a couple episodes lying about the fact that she probably shouldn't be there.
Wow.
Because Ted Danson is there to usher her through. And there's other people in this whole Good Place. And so they kind of realize there's like two of them who realize they should not be there. So the fun in it is that she's now, after she's died, trying to become a better person because she realizes she doesn't want to go to hell. So it's fun. There's some good characters in it. But
where can we see it?
Oh God. I believe it's on Netflix. I wrote it down here. Yes. It ran for 4 seasons, 2016 to 2020, and can be seen on Netflix. But it's just there's a huge twist. I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I know about
There's a twist that Clark and I did not see coming, but it's just kind of fun. Like we all think about, all right, when we die, are we going to heaven or hell? Do we got a shot? I think, Ange, you and I are both hoping for the shot at purgatory.
Right.
And we can convince them they should move us upstairs.
It's my only hope that there'll be some paperwork mistake that'll get me.
That's what this was. It was really a paperwork mistake.
But it does have a big twist in it. You're right about that.
Yes.
And just to make me look bad, Rhea has selected for her Teen Corner this week a network show, which I just backed. Thank you for that, Rhea. Rhea, in Britain television, British TV, what do we like?
So here's one. Here's what's interesting about this. I had watched this a couple years ago during the pandemic, and it's called The Missing. The reason I kind of circle back around to it is the guy. It's not the show you're thinking about, Ange.
No,
this is This is a British show. So, and it's on Stars. Now, when I watched it a couple years ago, it was originally on Prime and Netflix. The star of it was this Jean Baptiste, who's a French detective who finds missing kids, missing families. For some reason, I had only watched The Missing season 2 a couple years ago. When I realized Baptiste was coming back, I said, oh, I love the show. So I went back and watched it. I don't know why I didn't watch season 1. I will watch it. The Missing season 2, Angelo, you will love it.
Yeah.
It is so phenomenal. It got a 96 rating by the critics and a 91 by the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. What it is it's 8 episodes. It's a woman stumbles out of a forest in Germany and it's all British. So it's totally, you don't have, you can put the captions on if you want, and says she's Alice Webster, who had gone missing 11 years before off of a British army base that operates out of Germany. She mentions a name when she's recovered in this town. She has appendicitis. So she announces she's Alice Webster, but says her contact name is Sophie Giroux, which is how they bring in the detective because it's the famous case he never solved. It's so phenomenal. It deals with families who are devastated by a missing child, how they never recover from it. It's almost like a child dying, they never recover from it. But there are twists in this. It involves, all of a sudden you're in Iraq and the British you don't understand how soldiers in Iraq factor into this. The twists and turns in this, impeccably acted. You'll be on the edge of your seat by the time the last episode comes. Right. I guarantee. But, missing children, this child went missing when she was around 11 or 12 and comes back. The family's not sure she's actually the missing child because it's 11 years later.
Can I start on season 2 like you did?
Here's what I did is I started on season 2. They reference a couple of times Jean Baptiste. Episode 1 deals with a missing child, like younger. Yeah. So I am going to go back and watch it. And I already know the actors in it. They're phenomenal. So I will tell you about that next week. But for some reason during the pandemic, we were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I watched this and was riveted to every 8 episodes. The problem is it's on Stars. You have to pay for it, but you can pay, I believe, for the whole season. It's not that expensive. I want to say $7 or $8.
Sounds phenomenal, Rhea. Let me give you what I got this week because it is the reason I'm doing this podcast. My wife and I watched it last night. It has gotten some publicity, but not nearly as much as it deserves. It is a documentary called Still, and it is on Michael J. Fox and Michael J. Fox's wife. And the reason I was hesitant to watch it is I didn't want to feel sad.
Yeah.
My son Neil said, Dad, you got to see this. You're not going to believe how great this is. And I'm telling you, I have seen thousands of documentaries in my life. This is in the top 5, if not at the very top. It is brilliantly done. It is actually done by the director is Davis Guggenheim, who's most famous for the very famous documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, the Al Gore climate change.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of the mid 2005, around there. They have found a way to tell this story, incorporating actual scenes that Michael J. Fox was in, both on TV with his big hit Family Ties and in all his great movies, especially his best one, Back to the Future. They have done such a brilliant job of recreating scenes in his life without it looking like a recreation at all. It is so intricate and brilliant. You're going to see. Let me just give you a few of the things you're going to see that
he's so beloved, Angelo. I think people will love this. He really is. I mean, besides the sitcom, it's Back to the Future. People love him.
I just got to tell you how great this is. They show you the scene in Family Ties where he meets his wife.
Yeah, Tracy Pollan, right?
And he tells the story, and it's phenomenal. You get to see in where he was at. He left Canada when he was a kid, 18, moved to Hollywood with no money, quit high school, was eating jelly packets, Smucker's jelly packets to stay alive. All right. And then they finally he somehow won this part on Family Ties. He knocked it out of the park from day one. And then he gets a shot at Back to the Future because Eric Stoltz, who was the original Marty McFly,
they fired him.
After 5 weeks.
Hated him.
He couldn't do comedy.
Yeah.
They needed comedic elements in Back to the Future, one of my top 5 movies of all time. I love it. And then they get to when he begins to find out in 1990 that he's got Parkinson's. And
early.
Rhea, this was the best part, most interesting. They show you in his movies how he hid it because he had a tremor in his hand. And he illustrates for you how he was hiding it, even in pure sight, where you could see it. It is so fantastic.
Wow. He's had that for 30 years?
This man is as inspiring as any man I've ever witnessed in my life, because through this all, 33 years with this disease. Normally people get it in their 70s. He got it when he was 29. He has raised over $2 billion for Parkinson's research. And I'm telling you, Rhea, this is not padded. The whole thing is one episode, 1 hour, 34 minutes. And I guarantee you, Gail, come here for a second. Gail, just tell, how good was the Michael J. Fox documentary last night?
Oh, wow. It was amazing. He's so strong. I think I would have jumped off a bridge. He's very inspiring.
And let me just say that the last shot in it, I'm not going to give it away. The last shot, I can't get rid of it. It's still in my brain 12 hours later. Whatever.
Angie, I can't believe I didn't realize he had it when he was 29.
29. And
that's unusual, isn't it?
Unusual. He said to the doctor, this can't be possible. It doesn't happen to somebody my age. Do you understand? I'm a chosen one. At the time, Rhea, nobody's. He's a
massive star.
He had the #1 television show, Family Ties. At the very same time, he had the #1 movie, Back to the Future, and #2 movie, Teen Wolf, all out in the same time frame. No one's ever done that. That's how big it was. This is so great. It's called Still. It is available right now on Apple TV. And I was going to get into the writer's strike and everything, but I don't want. The last thing I need to do is Jay Black say to me, "You ran over," when I've been yelling at him. So we'll do more with the writers next week. We'll do more. Rhea, tell us more about The Missing. And we got a whole bunch of other great stuff. I thank you all for being a part of the team.
Wait, can I say one thing before you hang up?
Yep.
I'm actually thrilled to be doing a show just with you.
Really?
I'm super excited.
Well, I got to admit, Rhea, it's the first time I've hosted anything in 33, in 3.5 months.
You only sent me 2,500 pages of prep.
I'm definitely rusty. That's what I've come for this. Anyway, let me review what we got. Yeah. Accused is on Fox and now available on Hulu. The Good Place is on Netflix. The Missing is on Stars. And here's the one, man, just set aside an hour and a half. Still on Apple TV. One of the best documentaries I have ever seen. Thank you all for listening to us this week. Have fun in Iceland, Jay. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Rhea, great job. Terrific.
Oh, my God. So we went too long.
Well, I don't know. I had to cut out the last thing, but you know what? You carried me again. You haven't forgotten how to do it.
Oh, stop.
Thank you,
now,
Rhea.
Ange, quick question. Have you seen Air, the Ben Affleck?
Oh, we went to the movies. It's the only movie we've gone to.
Oh, you went to the movies? Did you like it?
It's great. It's great.
I liked it.
Ooh,
I didn't love it.
Really? What didn't you like?
Listen, I thought Ben Affleck as Phil Knight, I loved him because he was goofy.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, it wasn't working for me.